See, this is a very interesting revelation that we picked up last time. Because, yeah, there were a few points of interest here that we picked up here. We know now that he was scanned by Palmeractus, and Palmeractus is referenced by first name in the second Blackmail letter connecting Aiden, or John, to Manny Steele. We are cooking here. We have Palmeractus here. We have the note here. My late buddy Pal left me the evidence I need to ruin you. So, Aiden. Although this might not actually be from Aiden. This might be from, Rupture. If Rupture helped John go into hiding, Rupture was obviously in league with Palmeractus. They both had the evidence, had the means to prove that Manny Steele was lying about saving John. Rupture blackmailed Steele to steal the case files for AS-10 with the evidence that he got from his buddy Palmeractus. So, spirit of Seething. To the one who saved my life. Very intentionally worded to shake this. And this is the connection we're making, aren't we? The one who saved my life was in fact Rupture. Because Corey Rupture's autopsy report is a scar on the victim's shoulder that's several years old. He was shot and operated on in the past. Probably by, Palmeractus. And, as such, we are continuing to cook here. We still have a lot of pieces of stuff, like the stuff in the basement down here, that we need to work out. But do we know enough to assume that Corey Rupture was blackmailing Manny Steele over the secret of not actually being involved in saving Jonathan Seething's life? 13 years ago. So in this letter, you kept my body safe. Your actions have forever tainted my soul. So, the one who saved my life. Now, is our gambit here that Aiden was blackmailing Corey Rupture, who saved his life but lived a awful, terrible existence, and in the process of Aiden's blackmail shenanigans on Corey Rupture is blackmailing Manny Steele by proxy. We are very much cooking here. I think we're gonna start by... Can we present that? Let's pull the jury first, before we go any further. Your Honor, I would like to hear what the jury thinks about this statement. Alright. Wait, what? I'm confused now. I can understand if it was Steele who dropped him off. That at least might prove Gambit is seething. But why would Corey bring either of them to the orphanage? Why would he step in like that? Maybe he found Aiden all abandoned, decided to make sure he got a good home. Maybe Corey wasn't as bad of a person as we've been led to believe. That's a good one. Yeah, no, that dude was a complete scumbag. I've seen Rupture work his ways more times than I can count. He doesn't just do nice things. He's responsible for doing this. The dude had an ulterior motive. For once, Juror 2 and I are in complete agreement on something. Rupture didn't just do this out of the kindness of his heart. He was trying to achieve something. What was he trying to do? Aiden Gambit was just some random kid he didn't know. Even if the defense is right, even if Aiden Gambit is John Seething, why would Rupture care about John? He was just another witness to take down. Why put himself in charge of John Seething's well-being? The mystery, isn't it? Too bad I can't remember the answers. Unless Redhorn has proof otherwise, of course. Rupture brought Seething to the orphanage. Those are where the facts have led me. The reason why, however, is where things get confusing. What was Rupture trying to achieve? How does Seething fit into his plans? Most importantly of all, what does this imply about the past the two of them share? Really have to think outside the box to answer this one. Let's present the let's start with the blackmail, I suppose. If Corey brought John Seething to the... Yeah, I think we're going to work under this assumption, so one of the things that connects John Seething to his savior, I think we're going to have to start here. We're going to try the blackmail letter. And we're going to start cooking. I don't know if I'm just going crazy or if I'm completely off base, but looking at this piece of evidence, and I can't help but wonder. Mr. Justice, is something wrong? Why have you just paused after your objection? No turning back, I just have to say it. Things are starting to fit together quite nicely. Quite nicely. And we're getting somewhere here. We have a lot of questions we can... answer here. We still have... It's going to lead to more unanswered questions, which we're only going to start piecing together once we open this can of worms. So, after the AS-10 incident, the witness, John Seething, disappeared without a trace. However, we've just learned that Aiden Gambit was brought into the orphanage when he was young. If Seething was brought to the orphanage under the name Aiden, that would explain his sudden disappearance after the trial. Yes, that would make sense. The problem is, if Aiden Gambit really is John Seething, there's a clear contradiction here. A contradiction, you say? John Seething was Steele's witness. You'd expect he would be the one to take John to the orphanage after the trial. But that's not who took on the responsibility. Instead, it was Corey Rupture who decided to take Jonathan Seething to the orphanage. The question is, why would he decide this was his responsibility? John wasn't his witness. He had no business in the young Seething's affairs. Indeed. It seems like a matter best dealt with by Matty Steele in the prosecutor's office. What if he felt it was something he had to do? Pardon? My theory is that Rupture didn't just do this action out of the kindness of his heart. He was hiding something. Or rather, hiding someone. I mean, Mr. Rupture was trying to hide John Seething away from the world. That's correct, Your Honor. But why on earth would he want to do that? This is just a theory, but I believe Manny Steele's reaction may have given away the answer. For some reason, Mr. Steele didn't want us to figure out who took Seething to the orphanage. Every time he's been uncooperative in the trial, it all leads back to one thing. This is not a trial to determine who actually saved John's life. By hiding John Seething away, Corey Rupture was also trying to hide the real truth. The true identity behind Jonathan Seething's savior. Mr. Justice, are you saying you know who saved John Seething during the assassination attempt? The question is, why would Rupture hide this? I do, Your Honor. The last testimony has made it abundantly clear.
Objection.
Not you. Your Honor, don't listen to him. Shut up. It's all just a trick. He's trying to. Very well then, Mr. Justice. If you are so confident in your answer, please tell this court. However, this is a very important question. I will not be lenient towards wrong answers. Yes, yes. This can't possibly be, can it? The answer is stuck in my throat because what it means, what it would imply, would be a heinous conspiracy, too cruel for words alone to describe. If what I'm about to suggest is true, then the truth I've been trying to uncover, the secret, would completely destroy everything we thought we knew about the AS-10 incident. Let's think about this for a second, because I haven't actually considered the implications of this. Let's look at the AS-10 files a second, before we input Corey Rupture here. Claims he was attacked a few days after the murder, saying that the prosecutor and Manny Steele saved his life, and they were both wounded in the process. Defense refuted this claim, proving that no such wound existed on Steele's person. Of course, he would know. Melissa and Jonas Seething. Both victims were hung to death in their own home, right in their own bedroom. Murderer entered into their room when they were sleeping. The lock of the front door was intact. The perpetrator had a key. Assassin for hire. Never proven. Links to a famous politician. A famous politician angle was mentioned briefly by Edgeworth. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere. The thing that sticks in my mind is that they were hung to death at their own home, and Corey Rupture was hung to death in his own home, in the judge's office, as the means of revenge against Rupture, Manny Steele, and the judge. Is the angle here that the corruption is going to come from the prosecutor's office? That Manny was actually privy to, Because remember, the canon Dark Age of the Law came from Phoenix tricked into presenting forged evidence, and Simon Blackquill being found guilty of murder. A defense attorney being disgraced, and a prosecutor being disgraced. On one side of this case, we have a morally bankrupt Corey Rupture. The other side of this case, we have a murderer with ties to a famous politician, potentially. So... and who would have known how to get to John Seething? But, it was never proven that the... I don't know clearly what we are cooking yet, but it smells like Manny Steele might be hiding a deeper corruption in the prosecutor's office that is even unbeknownst to Edgeworth. Because this case is going to sink us further in the mire, not just because of the dark secret at its core, but because of the actions that John has been able to undertake in the courts to this day to undermine the legal system. Alright, enough cooking. Let's present Corey Rupture. He knew. He knew the truth all along. Guy had the gall to say that the kid was faking his injuries, and he had his entire testimony revoked. Right? But he knew it was a lie. It was all a part of his setup. Or are we going to say that he set up the assassination attempt and folded himself? The main point is everyone already believed I'd saved John. Just easier at that point to keep the lie going. Professional coward Manny Steele, he has a setup to lead John Seething into a trap. Alright. The heinous secret that's been hidden for 13 long years is revealed today. Alright, you can't be serious. Can't be, that's... Could only have been one man. The victim, defense attorney Corey Rupture. What did... I thought I had this pegged, but... Order. Mr. Justice, explain yourself immediately. We'll see what's cooking here. By the way, Your Honor, based on Manny Steele's reaction to us finding out Corey Rupture was the business card's owner, it's clear it all relates back to their attempts to cover up the identity of John Seething's savior. But why would Corey Rupture want to keep that a secret? What would he have to gain? The only reason I can think of why is because the secret getting out would ruin him. Again, we have to ask, why would that be? Would that be something damning? Something that proved he knew going into the trial that his argument was a complete sham. The only identity of Seething's savior that would fit the bill is... That's right, himself. He was the one who saved John's life, and he still wanted to claim it was all fake. That's why he had to be the one to take John to the orphanage. He had to control the narrative. Couldn't take any risks. He had to make sure John was far away from anyone he could squeal to. He had to make sure John Seething ceased to exist, replaced by Aiden. Mr. Justice, you must see the holes in your argument. Jonathan Seething had just been used by the man he trusted, the man who saved his life. He would without a doubt lose trust in Corey Rupture. And there's no way Rupture wouldn't know this. Why would Rupture think this plan would work? Why would Seething go along with it? You're thinking about it all wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You're gonna have to do some legwork to convince me of this. There's someone trying to kill John. His scar acts as proof of the attempt on his life. And he didn't disappear. There was no telling when the next attempt might be. I guess the part that you need to convince me about is that, Rupture... I mean, I guess Rupture would intentionally gain from, Rupture would not intentionally gain from, would... I guess the way it seems, the way it started out here is like, that Rupture set this up to use this in court as a sham argument. Like, Rupture made the argument in court, set this up to make the argument in court to get his client off, knowing that it was a sham. Not to mention, due to the trauma he had gone through, he would be more than willing to leave John Seething behind and become a new person. And Corey Rupture, how would he think this would work? As far as he was aware, John couldn't remember who he was anymore. I don't believe John actually had amnesia. If he did, this entire crime wouldn't have happened. However, I do believe John may have been misdiagnosed with amnesia by Palmeractive. What? Rupture must have believed the diagnosis. He thought he could do anything to John, and be able to get away with it due to this fact. So he took the opportunity to hide his insidious plot without spilling a single drip of... Did Corey Rupture set up... I'm a little lost here. Objection! Everything you're saying is just getting more and more ridiculous, Redhorn. Look, I'm sure you're aware, but Manny Steele and Corey Rupture don't exactly look alike. Yet you're claiming that John somehow got the two mixed up? How'd that happen? With a question on the back of our minds that you still haven't answered. Why would John say the wrong name in court when naming his savior? It's an excellent question, but it's not my place to answer. Here's what I think would work. Corey Rupture saves John Seething's life. Says, okay, kid, I got shot in the fucking shoulder. I need to get operated on. You need to get treated. Here's the deal. You say in court that Manny Steele saved your life. I'll help you disappear. I'll help you disappear so whoever's trying to kill you won't be able to find you. John says okay, because he's fucking 9 and fucking terrified probably, and then here we go. That would fit. That would kind of fit. But, let's see where we're going. It's yours, Manny Steele. Ah! Me? We already know you are not the man who saved Seething, yet you refuse to answer. Why he would think that you were his rescuer. However, if Corey Rupture was the man who saved him, there's only one clear answer. Rupture wanted John to say the wrong name and destroy his credibility as a witness. The only way he could have done that is if you colluded with him to make it so. That could be the explanation for the setup with the videotape. Mr. Justice, you're saying Mr. Rupture and Mr. Steele joined together in a plot against Jonathan Seething? I do. That's the only reason any of this makes sense. It's clear that Steele would go to any lengths to keep this collusion a secret. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Now I see something's cooking. If the two sides colluded to This is why he has been so uncooperative during this trial. Well now, Redhorn, I think I could try to dispute this. But I think I'm much more interested in seeing how Steele will try to worm out of this one. Well, the stage is all yours, if you even dare. You what? What do you have to say for yourself, Steele? You can't prove anything. Oh, shut up already. He's still trying to fight it. You couldn't stop at slandering John and Aiden, and now you have to slander my name too. Well, I'm not gonna take this lying down. I won't let you do this. You have a rebuttal, Mr. Steele? I do. Simply put, there's no proof Coy was the one who saved John's life. I think it would be in his best interest to let John die. Why risk his life like that? Should we prove Coy went out of his way to protect John? I won't accept anything else. On, Steele, what would it take for you to give up already? Fine. I won't confess until I've squeezed it out of him. And I'll make sure to squeeze as hard as I can. If you're going to try to find this proof, Mr. Justice, then I have a word of advice. Remember everything you've learned up to this point, every detail that seemed out of place. If Coy Rupture really did save Jonathan Seething from this assassination attempt, and there may be a detail left unexplained that makes sense now. Detail left unexplained. Actually, I may not just know what that could be. Contradiction that suddenly makes sense with this new information. Oh, well then, Mr. Justice, present your evidence now. This has got to be the autopsy report. The old scar that we pointed out earlier on in this video. There's one thing that's been bothering me for a long while. When the attempt on John's life happened, he claims his rescuer was wounded. However, Coy Rupture used Manny Steele's lack of wounds to argue that the witness had a faulty memory, that the attack never actually happened. On its face, that argument would make sense. However, Steele has admitted that he is not the one who actually saved Jonathan Seething. That's correct, Mr. Edgeworth. Just really out of the question that his rescuer was wounded. That really did happen, and there's every possibility they actually did get hurt. That could be. But nobody with a wound like that revealed themselves to the police. Forget it, Mr. Steele. Coy Rupture wanted to keep his involvement a secret. It doesn't matter, because his wound was found regardless. What? In the autopsy report, it mentions a scar on the victim's shoulder. It's a bullet wound that had been operated on several years ago, long before the murder. A bullet wound? That could very well be the wound that he received during the attack. Exactly right, Your Honor. Incidentally, the medical records mentioned on the autopsy report were files recovered from the Maractus clinic after Pal Maractus' death. Well, Steele, does that prove it yet? Mr. Justice, this has gone on far long enough. Hmm? He still won't give up? It's true. Corey does have a bullet wound on his shoulder, that much I can't deny. But Corey also made a lot of enemies. He could have gotten shot anywhere. Maintain that the scar has nothing to do with the attack. Why, Steele? Why do you keep resisting? What will it take for you to finally admit the truth? I don't have to admit anything, Mr. Justice. Quite frankly, I'm tired of you thinking you could push me around. Sick of your speculating. That's all you can ever do. We'll be done with this trial. I want to go back to my cell. I'll show my proof. We're done here, Mr. Justice. I never wanted to go this far, Steele. I never wanted to force your hand. But you lied to us. Even now, you still lie. You've somehow been the most weak-willed, pathetic Phoenix Wright character I've ever encountered. You refuse to tell us the truth, and I have no choice. I'll show you the proof you want. I say that affectionately, in terms of the writing. I want to step on his face repeatedly, but he's very well written. But I want to step on his face repeatedly until he weeps. I want to make this man cry. But he's so conclusive that even you can't refute it. It's time to end these lies. Mr. Justice, I believe the time has come to present conclusive evidence to this court. The goals are to finally prove that Aiden Gambit is, in fact, Jonathan Seething. And also that Corey Rupture is responsible for saving his life. That's it. I will not allow any mistakes now. You have been warned. Was this going to be the second letter? No mistakes allowed? I better think carefully before I answer them. I should comb through the court record to see if the evidence I need is in my possession. Do I have the evidence I need? If not, then where is it? Do I have it? I think we're gonna pull out the second blackmail letter. Pal Maractus. And I think that this letter came from Corey Rupture. Let's try it. Defense will prove and provide evidence to the court. Evidence will put this matter to rest once and for all. Or if it doesn't fit here. Hey, well, Mr. Justice, sign up for your money where your mouth is. Proof that connects Corey Rupture's wound to the night. Oh. Maybe we jacked up. But now that I'm looking at this might be just bad ending time. Because we don't actually have the proof, but it might be in the Pal Maractus records that Edgeworth just mentioned. Let's present the second letter anyways, and here we go, this is my evidence. And what is that supposed to show exactly? This evidence puts all questions to rest once and for all. This finally proves everything the defense has been saying, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? The prosecution failed to see how this proves much of anything, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, enough. It's all over, Mr. Justice. You were given one chance, and you failed to prove your case. No! How could I mess up here? Mr. Justice, you were warned about what the consequences of failure would bring. I must upend my end of the bargain. That's enough. I see no need to further prolong this trial. Friends can no longer present a proper case to this court. As such, I move for immediate adjudication following the verdict. Seems the jury's vote is unanimous. Declare the defendant Oquali. It's just game over. The defendant will surrender himself to the court immediately. To go a regular trial at the High Court within the next month. Court is adjourned. Okay, game over. Game over. Very good. So I don't have it. Defense does not currently have the evidence to prove its claims. A shame, then I cannot let your claims stand. See, I knew it. I'll bark and no bite. We're not finished yet, Mr. Steele. What'd you say? The defense does not currently have possession of the evidence to prove that Corey Rupture received his wound on the night of the attack. We do know where that evidence may be found. What? It should certainly prove interesting. Well, Mr. Justice, I'm all ears. Rupture saved John's life. Can't let myself doubt that fact for even a second. That means he also knew Steele saving John was a lie. If he really knew that, could give a whole new meaning to a certain piece of evidence. Time is up, Mr. Justice. Let's hear your answer. There's the second letter. And he Steele's blackmail letter. Your Honor, there's a part of this letter that I find very interesting. Don't mess this up, and don't you dare betray me. My late buddy old pal left me the evidence I need to ruin you. Going down, then so are you. Yes, that is very odd indeed. Makes it sound like the blackmailer has just as much to lose as Steele did. If I'm going down, then so are you. So, the way you just put that, was I right that Seething blackmailed Rupture, who then blackmailed Manny, the part of the first blackmail plan? Concentric blackmail. That's because he did, Your Honor. After all, if it got out who was the one who was really saved John Seething, his career would also be over. What could possibly be saying? The part I still need convincing about is, how would Rupture saving John getting out ruin Rupture's career? Unless we're saying that it's unless we're saying that this would just be blatant a blatant case of thinking. Yeah. That Rupture saved John and then used John to discredit the case against his client by either the version in my head, which was sorry, too much cooking, I'm brain fried. That come on. Version in my head where Rupture makes a deal with John to win his case by discrediting Manny. The version that seems to be brewing in here, which I could get behind, which is Rupture and using Manny in a collusion bet to discredit Manny. I can't wrap my head around a reason for the collusion, what that accomplishes, what anybody gains out of it, other than just Rupture uses his connections to help John disappear. But what Rupture has to lose, obviously, it makes more sense with what they both have to lose. It's if the truth of Rupture saving John comes out, it gets revealed that Rupture knowingly made a false argument to win a case. And I guess knowingly made false testimony. Knowingly incited false testimony to win a case, which would close to discrediting his already pockmarked career. And obviously that would disprove the long-standing claim that Manny was too much of a coward to speak out against. One who was blackmailing Steele into doing his bidding. The one who wrote this letter. None other than the victim, Corey Rupture. He's the blackmailer. No. Stop. Stop! Yes, make him cry. Step on his face. Mr. Justice, that's incredible. I think that the victim was blackmailing Mr. Steele the entire time. Yeah, who would have guessed? Well, Redhorn, are you going to stop there? You've come this far. Might as well not hold back. How will this letter help us find the evidence of yours? He's not fighting it anymore? He's just gonna let me do it? Very well. Please consider a part of the letter that I've already read out loud. My late buddy old pal left me the evidence I need to ruin you. That's a rather cryptic clue to find the evidence we need. It's actually not very cryptic if you think about it, Your Honor. Actually, I think it's quite obvious if you notice one little detail. The word pal is capitalized. Oh, so pal isn't a regular noun. It's referring to a person's name, the pal. Exactly, Your Honor. There's only one person the letter could be referring to. Coy Rupture left the evidence to ruin Steele the hand of the doctor, Pal Maractus. I see, so that explains it. Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Justice, do you remember when I said earlier that the medical records showing Coy Rupture had been shot in the past were retrieved from the Maractus clinic? Yeah, I do. I assume you retrieved them after his death. Naturally, we did. We actually retrieved a lot of evidence from his clinic. He was known to hold on to incriminating evidence he found during surgeries, so as to not give away his clients. With more dubious connections, along with the medical report, we also uncovered something strange alongside it. 2 bullets covered in blood, both incredibly well preserved, both in the same bag. And of course the ballistic markings on both bullets matched. That's it. That's the evidence I need. Until now, the existence of these bullets has baffled us. A DNA test showed that the blood on one of the bullets belonged to Coy Rupture, but we were never able to figure out whose blood was on the second bullet. And we have to have a DNA test right here, right now. If the blood of the bullet belongs to Aiden Gambit, it would prove he was saved by Coy Rupture, and in turn it would prove that he is in fact Jonathan Seething. Very well then, let us put an end to this once and for all. Aiden Gambit, please submit yourself to a DNA test at once. What, you need my permission all of a sudden? Come on, get it over with. Let's end this sham already.
Objection.
Shut up! No, you can't do this, Aiden. Don't give them your DNA. Will you shut up? They have no right to do this to you. It's all a trick, a lie. Every step on his face already. We would have never had to go this far if you had just told us the truth, Steele. Because you refuse to give us answers, this is what we've been forced to do to pursue the truth. You don't know what you're doing. What this will do to me. Oh, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'll give you what you want, whatever you want. Just don't do this. We've already told you what we want. We want the truth, no matter what it takes. You won't keep us from it, Steele. Not now that we're so close. You can't. Please, please. Well, Steele, there's nowhere to run. You know what we'll find. Do we have to do it ourselves? Will you finally stop hiding behind your phony confession? What the truth, Manny Steele? Did you and Coy Rupture conspire against John Seething? You've... That's what it seems. Then tell us. Good God. Dr. Sky, do you have the results of the DNA test? A DNA match was confirmed for the blood on the second bullet. There could be no doubt. Blood belongs to Aiden Gambit. So I was right. That means everything I've been trying to prove. There can be no doubt about it, then. This proves the defense's claims are true. Aiden Gambit and Jonathan Seething are one and the same. It is now undeniable. Step on his face, step on his face, step on his face. Let him whimper and cry. It's over, Steele. The evidence is clear. Do you retract your confession? I do. I can't go on like this anymore. I never actually stole the files from Mr. Edgeworth's office. It was all a lie. I'm sorry. It was all to cover up the truth of the AS-10 incident. At last, he finally admits it. If Corey saved John's life, that must mean the letter used in the trial was meant for him. That makes sense. Why would you do this, Steele? Why conspire against Jonathan Seething? What did you have to gain? Look, I didn't mean to, alright? Wasn't trying to hurt him. Didn't mean to collude with Coy Rupture. Pardon me if that sounds a bit ridiculous. It's the truth, honest. It all started when I was put in charge of prosecuting the case. After the assassination, I was chosen as the one to prosecute murder. Thought it'd be a cut and dry case. That's when I received an ominous phone call. Don't go near John. We'll take care of him. But a cold chill down my spine. Knew they couldn't have meant anything good by saying that. With a bit of hesitation, I rushed over to the witness protection spot for John. He wasn't there. He had gone missing. I panicked. I had no idea what to do. Then my phone rang again. I answered it, and I was horrified with what I heard on the other end. We told you to leave John alone. Do not try to get in our way. This is your final warning. I was scared. I knew if I didn't comply, they would come after me. So I left the matter alone. I didn't feel good about it, but I knew I had to. Next day at the office, I tried to figure out what had happened the night before. So the rumors started spreading around the office saying that John had been attacked. That was bad enough. I thought I was going to lose my job for letting this happen. But then what I heard next shook me to my core. Rumor has it the kid's saying you saved his life. You're a hero around the office, man. You really showed him. I was scared. I remembered the threats I had received just for trying to contact John. But they believed I had ruined their plans. What if they tried to kill me next? I hid away in my bedroom, hoping nobody would come to get me. I was terrified. Before I knew it, this trial came. I had no choice but to step outside and hope I would survive. Then once the trial began, John took the stand and talked about how you saved him. Right. I had no idea how I was going to handle this. Agreeing with it meant risking my life, but opposing it meant arguing with my own witness. Before I could get a word in edgewise, that's when Corey stopped him. He asked me to show my shoulder to see if there was a bullet wound there. Of course, there wasn't. So maybe it did play out how I thought it did. And the collusion was just, Rupture and his, fucking whatever goons and friends he had going on there, just, stepping on his face until he complied. I was confused. How could he have known to do something like that? That's when I realized what exactly Corey had done. The trap he had laid for John. So the only reason he saved John was to lead him into his trap. No, if his case was all he was concerned about, then he would have let John die. Even he isn't that heartless. Even he knew resorting to killing was wrong. He's a man who used many dirty tactics, but even he had his limits. He was close to the kind of people who set this up. He must have heard about it from them. I believe him saving John was a genuine act, but he must have seen an opportunity there. But you, Manny Steele, could have stopped that opportunity dead in its tracks. You had seen the trick Corey Rupture had pulled. It was your job to point it out. I know I should have, but I was too scared. I must have known I'd be too afraid of what would happen to me if I challenged him on this. Guess he knew me a bit too well, but more than that, I pointed out that he betrayed the people who set this up, and be condemning him to die. Even if nobody really knew the truth, it would spare both of us. Oh, I stayed quiet. Corey saved my life, so I saved his. John's testimony got thrown out like he wanted. Got to walk away without a target on my back. The price that I don't understand is, it wasn't intentional between Corey and John. How did Corey get John to say that it was Manny? That part I don't understand. Next day I heard that John had gone missing. I knew I was finally home free. I never did sleep right after that. After knowing what we did to poor John. Well, you shouldn't. You betrayed him and then tossed him aside like trash. If you say that you also wanted to protect Rupture, that didn't stop him from being killed anyways. I know, okay? I know what I did was wrong. Can you imagine what it's like? Living with this guilt for 13 years? Well, of course, it wasn't over and came back to haunt you. When you received this blackmail letter from Corey Rupture. Yeah, I couldn't run from it forever. Of course I knew it was Corey. It was far too obvious it was him. I still had no idea what to do. I thought I'd have to become a thief and steal from your office. Right when things were at their lowest. That's when John suddenly appeared again. All this time, I thought he was dead. That my inaction had killed him so long ago. When I saw he was alive and well, I thought he had come back for revenge. But he wasn't. At least I thought that he wasn't. Seems like you're in a bit of trouble. Let me take care of it. That's what he said. All he asked in return was that I let him in through the entrance in the parking lot. In fact, letting him in is why I stayed back late that night. Must have been when he set up his plan to steal the files from Edward's office. With the pulley and planning the remote, I did as he asked without questioning what he wanted to do. But I was still terrified of what might happen next. What if he couldn't help me? So I broke off with the plan. I found myself in front of Mr. Edgeworth's office. I'm sure you know the rest from there. I tried to steal the AS-10 files from right off of my shelves. I failed. Tried to hide out in my office, but I realized I forgot my key. If it weren't for the security lady coming by and using the master key, I'd be done for. I hid out there until I thought it was safe to go, leaving the building empty-handed. Even so, the files were found in your office the next morning. I had no idea what was going on. Was this all a part of John's plan? Was he out for revenge after all? That's when he offered to be my lawyer. I had no choice. I just had to let him do his thing. Then on the second day of the trial, John finally told me his plans. He was going to lay the blame of the crime on the person who sent me the letter. On Corey. What? But that's not what he did. I thought it was insane. I thought the prosecution would find it way too convenient. We had this letter with the entire time and never brought it up. They might think it was forged. But John convinced me that I should just go along with it. To much my surprise when John suddenly started accusing himself out of nowhere. I think I see now. Might not have been Seething's intentions of accusing himself of the crime the entire time. He was backed into a corner when I revealed I had looked into Corey Rupture's alibi. Last-ditch effort, he had to accuse the one person he knew had no alibi for the crime. Which was, of course, himself. Is that was the real reason for the letter swap, then? Just as a last-minute plan B? In the end, it didn't truly matter who he accused of the crime. So long as he used the remote and nothing happened, he would be found guilty anyways. Exactly. You're being used all along, Mr. Steele. Maybe. I don't really care anymore. If it's just what I deserve. After all, I killed John with my inaction. The person we got back was never truly the same. I couldn't save John. I couldn't save Corey. I couldn't even save myself. I'm absolutely good for nothing. I'm just a complete failure. Hi, John. Glad to meet you again. A failure, you say? That's an interesting choice of words. You lied and cheated your way out of it for 13 years. The best you can come up with is failure? Surely a failure would have to actually fail at something, but you didn't. You abandoned me in my time of need, all for your own selfish gain. You didn't fail. You got everything you wanted. You got away scot-free. You didn't do the right thing. You were too much of a coward to do the right thing. No, you're not a failure. You're just a coward. If you thought standing up for me would have killed you, then you should have died. But no, you kept living. You kept telling your lie. But now you get to keep living. But this time, everybody knows the truth. Now there's no escape. Everyone knows who you really are. But Corey, he's gone. And I'm glad. That bastard deserved to die. And here you all are, mourning his death, treating it like some sort of tragedy. Shame on you, each and every one of you. That monster didn't deserve to be remembered. Let him rot in hell. May all of you rot there with him for acting like what happened to him wasn't deserved. So then, are you finally ready? Ready to admit your true identity? Trying to hide it doesn't matter anymore. Anyways, after all, there's nothing left anymore. There's no love or joy. There's no sadness or surprise, no fear or warmth. All I have left is seething. Yeah, I knew that was coming. I just seen my parents die. Watson, that assassin, strung them up by their necks. Called the police and hid under my bed so he wouldn't see me. I was so distraught. I just lost the people in my life that mattered to me most. I could barely even talk. They finally managed to get a statement out of me. They took me away to a secret place. At least that's what I thought. The cops who escorted me were being paid off. They weren't taking me to witness protection. They took me straight to an alleyway and dumped me. Oh shit. Cried out in pain as I was shot in the back by someone I couldn't see. Fell to the ground. Thought it was done for. And I saw Corey rushing forward and another gunshot rang out. Corey getting hit and screaming out was all the last thing I remember before I blacked out. Next thing I remember was waking up in the Maractus clinic. Corey was there. His shoulder was all bandaged up. What I learned, I had been in intensive care for 5 hours. Doctors took a psychological evaluation to see if my mental state had been affected. He asked me a bunch of questions, but I wasn't in the mood to talk about anything. So I lied. I said I couldn't remember anything. Didn't do any further digging and said the attack gave me amnesia. Huh. Well, that's how you end up with the amnesia diagnosis. After that, Corey dropped me off at witness protection. Asked for his name. I wanted to remember the man who saved my life. If anyone asks, just tell them that Manny Steele saved your life. So at trial, John would realize that Corey betrayed him. That Corey set him up. That's the trap that Corey laid. Okay. Alright. That pays off. And that was what set his plan into motion. Giving you the wrong name, you could cast doubt on your testimony. And that's exactly what he did. I wanted to testify about my parents' murder. I told the court that Steele was the one who saved my life. Next thing I know, Corey was up to Steele and asked him to show him his shoulder to the court. Naturally, there's nothing there. I was so confused, I didn't know what was happening. To top it all off, he pulled out the amnesia diagnosis to say I shouldn't know anything. I wanted to say something, but the words wouldn't leave my throat. Besides that, Corey wouldn't even let me get a word in edgewise. How was that? Testimony was thrown out and my parents' murderer was declared innocent. Then afterwards, he took you to the orphanage under the name Aiden. Guess he figured since I had amnesia, I wouldn't feel the betrayal of his actions. After all, it's not like I could remember what really happened, right? He was wrong. Remembered everything. Held on to that hatred for everything and everyone involved in the case for 13 long years. Now, at last, Corey Rupture is dead. You have no idea how much joy that brings me. The man who betrayed me, the man who tricked me into making that murderer go free. I feel no pity or remorse for his death. He doesn't deserve it. What happened to him was justice, plain and simple. Corey Rupture was a man who performed many misdeeds over the course of his life. Doesn't mean playing judge, jury, and executioner over a man's life is justice. Objection! When the courts fail him, so epically, oh, don't give me that spiel, you know it's bull. Corey didn't die, he would never face the consequences of his actions. Objection! But you had the power to bring Rupture down. You could have shared your story. You could have finally let your voice be heard after all. He got so thoroughly fucked over by the way Rupture planned that out to get his client off. He got so thoroughly fucked over by that sure, he had the true story of it, but he did. But instead, you resorted to murder. Objection! What sharing my story have accomplished, huh? Rupture was a powerful man. Could have made sure my voice would go unnoticed. Revealing myself to the world would just guarantee someone would come after me again. If I die now, who will ensure justice is done, huh? Who? This isn't justice, it's vengeance, pure and simple. We don't just kill people because we have problems with them. Due process exists for a reason. I'm just go down that path. How far will it take us? Who else do we kill because they deserve it? Objection! You don't think I haven't tried doing things your way? You think I took the bar exam for the hell of it? What do you think I've been doing? Been fighting ever since I got this stupid badge to make things right. Been trying to take down the elites who think they run the place, take advantage of others. No matter how many blows I deal, they just keep coming back. Hydra keeps growing heads. Your way of justice, these courts, they don't work. Elites in power let people like you and me suffer while they cover up their crimes. It doesn't have to be like that. That's why we're trying to change things. Trying to make it better. But you, John, look at yourself. Look at what you've become. The one who gave up hope, you didn't even realize the man you decided to be like. The man I decided to be like. You still don't see it, do you? In your pursuit for your own brand of justice, take a look back at your own actions. You lied. You obfuscated evidence. You shifted the blame away from the guilty party. You did everything in your power to hide the truth from us, even when you knew it was right. And you hid your own involvement in this matter, all to fit everything into your narrative of events. You became the very man you swore to hate. You became just like Coy Rupture. Believe what you want to believe. I know in my heart that I'm right. The fact that you want to compare me to Coy just shows that you don't know a damn thing you're talking about. Coy was a complete monster. Name one good thing he did. He saved Jonathan Seething's life? Oh, quite frankly, I'm not sure that's true anymore. And Steele is right. Perhaps that young boy died on the nights his parents did. The person we got back, Aiden Gambit, became a far more sinister man. Lecture me all you want. I don't need to hear it from any of you. But you're right about one thing. Jonathan Seething is dead. And these courts, they're the ones that killed him. You claim you want to make things better. But can you? Are you really so naive to try? You can't fix these courts. Not when they're fundamentally rotten to their very core. You're wrong, John. It doesn't have to be like this. You build a better tomorrow. You don't have to live in the dark age of the law. Maybe I'm just being optimistic. I won't give up hope for a better future for us. Maybe I'm just being naive, but the world I live in is a lot better than yours. Objection! The world I live in? That's the real world. Wake up and join it. You can't make things better. It's pointless to think like that. The only way to fix the system is to burn it down to the ground. Then, let the ashes scatter into nothingness, forgotten by time. John, do you think it's so hopeless? You just have to prove you're wrong. Things can get better. I know it. Now then, are we done here? What? What do you mean? Well, you did a good job uncovering my real identity. Props. Last I checked, this ain't a trial to determine what happened to John Seething, is it? No, you guys want to point fingers at who off court. And I'm not your guy, got it? Objection! But you used the remote to kill Coy Rupture. You did so publicly in front of the entire courtroom. Objection! Is that really all you have against me? Can you prove Coy was hooked up to the pulley at the time? Bruises show he was in the vents. He had to have been hooked up to the pulley. But the dude got a few bruises. Big deal. You can get bruises at any time. They don't need to be right before you die, you know? You bump your knee on a table. Does that mean you're gonna die in the next 10 seconds? So you're saying the bruises don't prove the victim was in the vents at the time of the murder? I mean, hey, if you want to use it as proof that he entered the vents, sure. But you can't prove when he was in the vents, can you? He's right. You don't have any way to prove that. Not so fast. Let's not forget you also planted the remote in my office. Oh yeah? Says who? The evidence. Many still revealed it all. Get it from the roof that you should appear on the security cameras. What you do is play back the tapes. We'll see you enter the elevator and what? You don't have cameras installed on the roof. All you'll see is me entering the elevator and leaving it several minutes later. Hardly conclusive proof I went up to the roof, wouldn't you say? And how do you explain your movements that day? I don't need to explain anything. Maybe the elevator got stuck. You of all people should know that's ooh, that's a low blow. Oh! Seething, you. Spare me a pathetic bleeding, Edgeworth. The fact is, you have nothing tying me to this crime at all. You might just be one of my favorite fan case villains in a long time. All I can prove is that I pressed a button. That's it. There's no proof Coy was hooked up to the pulley at the time. there's no proof I'm the one who planted the remote and set up this death trap. It's true, I knew that pushing the button would throw the trial. Not like I didn't test it. What are you gonna do? Sue me? Call me a bad lawyer? Take away my badge? Fine. Do what you're gonna do. I don't care anymore. As it stands, you can't prove I did anything other than that. The true culprit of this crime is still the defendant, or qual iri. No! Order, order. Defense has done quite a bit in unraveling the mysteries surrounding the larceny, as well as uncovering the hard conspiracies within the AS-10 incident. In the end, however, they lack the evidence to tie these events to Cory Rupture's murder. All I seem to have done is go in a circle back to the issue at hand, repeatedly, but I thought I had come so far. I proved Steele's confession was fake. I proved John Seething was still alive. I proved that Cory was the one who saved John's life. I thought I'd opened the possibility for Seething to be the killer. He's so far away from proving his guilt all this time? Can't prove John's the killer, or that Cory was hooked up with the pulley during the murder. What am I supposed to do now? Come on, Apollo. Remember what I told you? Mr. Wright? Worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. What's with the frowny face? Now's not the time for that. I'm trying, Mr. Wright. I really am trying. Don't know what to do next. Where do I go from here? Apollo, I'm telling you, don't worry about it. Remember, you don't need to prove everything. The jury can come to their own conclusions. Right now, there are two possibilities for what could have happened with this crime. First possibility is that the defendant, or qual iri, discovered the victim, stupid around at the crime scene and decided to strangle him to death then and there. This is the possibility you must argue against. Second possibility is that the third party set up the pulley in the vents above the crime scene, and used that to create a death trap for the victim, dragging him by his neck to be hung. This is the possibility that John Seething is trying to shut down. These are the possibilities brought to the table. It can be one or the other. All you need to do is counter John's argument for the first possibility, and you win. From there, all that's left is for the jury to decide who the guilty party is. Counter his arguments. Of course. We're still not done yet. What he's done so far is explain that there's no proof he's the killer. If he really wants to get away scot-free, he'll have to do more than brush us aside. He'll have to argue why your qual iri is the killer. Well, John, you heard Mr. Wright. It's either you or her qual iri. These are our two choices. If you walk away now without explaining why he's guilty, you risk him being declared innocent, meaning you would be the guilty party. Really? That's your plan, huh? Trying to trap me in a corner? You'd also walk away now and leave you nothing to work with. I could just take my chances. And yet, you gotta respect this strategy. Pretty bold. Well, we're both lawyers. How about we make a deal? A deal? I give my final argument for why Erie is the true culprit. In return, you aren't allowed to call upon help from anyone during our battle of wits. And you aren't allowed to ask any frivolous questions to try and press me for more info. No Mr. Wright, no Mr. Edgeworth, and no jury. Just you, me, and the evidence in the court record. Ooh. No pressing him or pulling the jury to get more info. You're taking a huge risk accepting this offer, but it could be the only way to prove my case. Seething. He's trying to get me to play his game, to be in the same position he was. Taking a huge gamble on one avenue forward, exactly what he did when he threw the case. If I accept this offer, would I be doing the same thing? Throwing my chances away? What do I do? Do I play by his rules? Possibly fall into a trap? If I don't, then I could also risk letting him get away. Mr. Justice, I know you're conflicted about whether or not to accept the offer, but you don't need to worry about me. I believe in my innocence. As I said, all I want to know is what happened to Cory. And I trust in you. You haven't let me down, Mr. Justice. No matter how bad things have gotten, you persevered. Take the offer, Mr. Justice. Bring the truth forward. I know you can do it. Judge Erie trusts in me. In that case, I have to put my trust in him, too. He's right. I can't be seen second-guessing myself. After all, a dragon never yields. I accept your offer, John. Let's hear your argument for why my client is guilty. Well, your decision is final. No backing out now. As begin our battle of wits and put an end to this, Mr. Justice. You called me by my name. Well, whatever he says next, it doesn't matter. Maybe playing by his rules, but it's still anyone's game. Let's rock. Whoa! Final assessment! Okay, that's cool. Where's that sound effect from? Wow! Oh god! It's Corey the one who blackmailed Steele. It's clear to me he's the one who stole the files. Look, we're going around stealing secret files. That's why he was in Udgy's chambers. The day of the murder, Corey entered from the vents, which alerted Eerie to his presence. Corey tried to use the pulley to escape, but Eerie used it to end the intruder's life. At some point during the struggle, the rope snapped and was hidden by the vent entrance closing. Not realizing he was already dead, Eerie then cracked Corey's head in the fireplace. I see. So that is your argument. You seem to have thought it through. What can I say? I like to be thorough.
Objection!
Thorough? I thought we've been over this already, Seething. Corey Rupture already had an alibi for the night of the larceny.
Objection!
Oh, please. You don't think I hadn't already accounted for that? What was his alibi exactly? That he was working at the office on the night of the crime. Something of the sort, yes. Corey was a rich man, Edgeworth. You really think he couldn't have bought an alibi? I think it's clear his employees wouldn't exactly rat on their boss now, would they? Good. So that's your angle, is it? Hey, doesn't matter. You're not a part of this discussion anyways. This is between me and Justice now. Justice, this is how things stand. These contentions are the last roadblock standing between us and letting the jury declare a verdict. Once the deliberations have come to an end, that will be it. The jury must declare a verdict based on the final arguments you have made. Understood? So if I can't counter his argument, the last impression the jury will get of this case is an argument pointing in the direction of my client's guilt. Better think fast then. I don't know if I can survive another summation examination. What I need is a plan of attack. Seething may seem like he's in control now, like he has everything all figured out. He's clearly trying to fudge the facts to fit his argument. He's clearly banking on us forgetting about certain details. He thinks there are things we don't know that we do. When I present evidence to attack the obvious contradictions, I should be quick and precise. I'll try to change his argument to squirm out of it, no doubt. Maybe that'll leave me an opening to a counterattack. The more he has to change his argument, the more his statements will conflict with each other. When that happens, I'll do what I did in situations prior. It's like when I was up against the jury. I noticed Steele's tells. Ooh. If I can't press him for info like I usually do, I can still press him in other ways by connecting his statements to each other. Eventually his argument should contradict itself so much. It'll fold in on itself like a house of cards. Defense is ready, Your Honor. This is it. This is my final chance to prove my case. John may think what he did was justice. He's about to learn what real justice looks like. Look out, John Seething. Here comes justice. Counter-argument. Well, that is cool. That is cool. It's rebuttal. Okay, we can't actually press here. What we do get instead, on the press mechanic here, we can connect or go back. Figure out where exactly these fit together. On the unused events, we have event blueprints. And review everything in our court record here. Button is covered in blood. As I noticed before, John is definitely fudging the facts to fit his narrative. Not stupid, I know what he's trying to do, and I'll put a stop to it. Breaking down the lie. No contradiction is too small. Let's try a thing here.
Objection!
Oh, John, didn't you hear? We already know Corey didn't enter from the vents. Huh? What are you talking about? You weren't here when we discussed this earlier. Emma and I found provisions belonging to Corey Rupture in the underground bunker. You know about the bunker? You know about the bunker? We do, naturally. Main question is, how do you know about it? After all, even some judges don't know about that secret. Yeah. Well, Mr. Seething, do you have an answer for that? Fine. Just doing a bit of research into the courthouse for a case. Found some old blueprints that gave away its location. Happy? What if he and Jurist 6 stumbled upon the same blueprints? Regardless, Corey Rupture was already in the bunker before the crime occurred. Him using the vents to enter the scene make absolutely no sense. Alright, fine. I'm nothing if not flexible. I can change my argument to reflect this information. Alright, let's see if his new statement changes anything. Alright, fireplace passage connected to the bunker. Does indeed change things a little bit. See what we can do with this here. If we didn't use the pulley to escape. We used this to escape, though. Uh-oh. Really faulty, Your Honor. It is? You have no idea, do you? No, Your Honor. Oh, dear. Drat. Fireplace package, just connect to the bunker. I mean, that could necessarily contradict. Pinned by the vent closing. There's two things that could actually contradict this here. Vent entrance closing. There are two pieces of evidence that we could use here. One is the vent blueprints, because the vent blueprints show that the door naturally opens down and was being, like, kept closed via magnets. So we're gonna try the blueprints first. See if that does anything. Nope. False.
Objection!
Also false. Alright. Bet. Oh wait, is this the wrong statement?
Objection!
Still false.
Objection!
Still false. While we're on here, though, there's probably one thing we can use here. We know for a fact that he didn't have the pulley that controlled the remote that controlled that pulley, though.
Objection!
We can use that as a fact. Corey Rupture used the pulley, you say? You mean using the remote for the pulley that he didn't have? I'm sure you remember, since this became a big part of the trial yesterday. But you can't use the motorized pulley without the remote to control it. But why is this so important, Mr. Justice? Because the rope found tied around Corey Rupture's neck is obviously from the pulley. Seething's argument is reliant on Hercule Erie having some way to know about the pulley. Well, this crime could not have happened in his version of events. Oh yes, I see. That is indeed a problem. Hey, it's no sweat. I can work around this. Give me a chance to change my argument and I'll be back on track. See how long that confidence lasts, John? Not deploy to kill Corey, but this missile placed it there. Let's connect this. Confirm. False. This argument is inconsistent with itself, Your Honor. It is? I don't see anything wrong. You don't? Argument here holds water, it seems. Oh, okay. Must ask to refrain from making such wild claims in my court, Mr. Justice. I'm just looking at it wrong. What do we know about the underground library? Our place passage. We've already done that. This feels like an autopsy report kind of thing. There's something else that I find curious. Stole the files. We're saying that the person who stole the files knew about the pulley. But I thought there was something wrong with this, that Erie knew about the pulley. But what if we got connects back to this? Does these connect? Oh, they do connect. It's a clear contradiction in this argument, Your Honor. What? There is. There's one thing Vera's testimony made incredibly clear. It's one thing. The pulley used in the larceny and the one used in the murder trial were ordered by the same person. Yes, there's no denying that. It's an ironclad fact in this case. It goes without saying, then, that whoever planted the pulley in the vents above the crime scene is the same person who used the other pulley to break into Mr. Edgeworth's office. After all, their thief left the remote for the companion pulley in Mr. Edgeworth's office. So I asked the question, if it's crystal clear that the same person was using both pulleys, how on earth could Hercule plant a pulley in the vents when Corey Rupture is the thief? Ah! Why, yes, that's quite right. Hercule cannot have been the one to plant the pulley in the vents. If Corey Rupture used a pulley to commit larceny, not when both pulleys were owned by the same person after all. Well, maybe they just shared the pulleys between each other. Yeah, that's gotta be it. That's impossible, Mr. Seething. By your argument's very logic, Rupture and Erie were not in cahoots with each other. Otherwise, why would Erie kill Rupture for trespassing? Nah. As it stands, it's incredibly clear that only one person could have used both pulleys. Which one is it, John? Did Corey Rupture use the pulleys, or did Hercule? I see. The person who stole the files must have placed both pulleys. Very well, can work with this. Hercule must have been the one to plant the pulley in the vents if he used it to strangle Corey. Oh, it stands to reason that he must also have been the one who stole the files from Edgeworth's office. Mr. Seething, you accusing the defendant of the larceny? I am, Your Honor. Oh damn, this is escalating. Order the court. It's a serious accusation to be making, Mr. Seething. What is your reasoning? I wasn't going to accuse him of it initially. There was no reason to. If the defendant is going to keep claiming the thief and the murderer are the same person, it stands to reason if Erie is responsible for one crime, he's responsible for the other. Trying to use my own argument against me, is he? Well, at least he learned something as a lawyer. Well, defense, Mr. Seething has brought up new allegations against your client. How do you respond to this? It's obviously bogus, but there is a logic to it. Still, it could give me a new angle to attack from. Let's see what possibilities this opens up. Defense would like the argument to be updated with these new allegations. We'll see how well it holds up to scrutiny. We'll see how long you can keep that smile going, Justice. But don't need to worry, I was already planning to make some needed changes. Maybe it was Erie instead. Do we connect this with this now? I'm just gonna offhand try and connect this because that original piece.
Objection!
Okay, yeah. That second statement was contingent on Corey Rupture being in that place. This argument conflicts with itself, Your Honor. Oh, really? Please explain, Mr. Justice. There's been an issue plaguing this case that has yet to be truly addressed. Why exactly was Corey Rupture inside the chambers when the crime took place? Never really thought about it, but that's an excellent point. Seething's theory proudly provided us with a reason for why Rupture would trespass there. Either that he is actually a thief going around stealing case files could explain it. There's just one problem with that explanation, however. It was based off of the claim that Corey Rupture stole the files from Mr. Edgeworth's office. Yes, it is a logical step from one point to the next, I think. However, Seething's argument has changed. He now claims that it was Hercule Erie who stole the files from Mr. Edgeworth's office. This means his claims that Rupture was there to steal files has nothing backing it up. Yes, this does seem like a grave oversight in Mr. Seething's argument. Do you have a way to explain this? I mean, maybe it's not as convincing of an idea as before. But the idea that Corey was trying to steal files is still the best explanation. There's nothing to support that idea anymore. Well, I don't see you giving any better ideas, Hotshot. How about it? You could come up with anything better? Better explanation for why Rupture was at the crime scene. I figured that out. Do I really know the reason? Maybe, just maybe, there's something in the court record. Something that could point to a finger at the true culprit. Oh. Is it as simple as presenting the provisions again?
Objection!
False. Why was he there, huh?
Objection!
Blackmail? Actually, explaining that should be really easy. After all, it's not as if he wanted to go there of his own volition. What are you saying, defense? Are you saying the victim was forced to go to the crime scene? That's exactly what I'm saying, Your Honor. It was never his choice at all. He was compelled to go to the judge's chambers that day, under threat of blackmail. Blackmail? That can't possibly be. The origins of this blackmail letter have been called into question for a long while. It seemed to be addressed to the person who saved John's life all those years ago. Come on, Justice. I already said that was a mistake. Letters just got mixed up. That was back when we thought you were Aiden Gambit, buddy. Unfortunately, I already know you wrote this letter. After all, you are the one who suggested it was written by yourself. Yeah. So you were saying that this letter's recipient was actually Corey Rupture? That's correct, Your Honor. Letter told Rupture to go to the judge's chambers that day. That's why he was there. Alright, I'll humor you, Justice. I'd say the letter was sent to Corey. I'd say it told him to go to the judge's chambers. Or it set things up to meet him there. What do you mean? I mean, if I wanted to ambush Corey, there were better places to do it. Doing it at a courthouse posed too much risk. It could have been so easily caught. Ambushing even the judge's chambers would just be suicide. Brings up a good point. Where are other places he could have ambushed Rupture? Or to set up that death trap of his? You think of explanation and fast. We're gonna use the obvious thing here.
Objection!
False. Alright, we hit a wall again. Let's try
Objection!
throwing stuff at the wall here.
Objection!
Okay, this is a bit of a roadblock. Judge's chambers. From the fireplace passage. This is actually... It wouldn't have told him to go to the judge's chambers. It would have told him to go to the fireplace passage because he entered the chambers from the fireplace passage. So this is a contradiction in his argument. Let's point that out. Alright, these are connected, Your Honor. Truly, defense, you've stumbled upon something. There's one question that arises when we asked why the victim was sent to the judge's chambers. Why exactly would they do that? According to your theory, it was to ambush the victim, yes? Yes, but that just creates new problems. The killer sent out the blackmail letter with the intent of ambushing Corey Rupture. And why use the judge's chambers as the spot of the ambush? That may have been the death trap's location, but there were better places. To attack the victim and knock them unconscious if that is the reason. You'd better do it in a more secluded area that wouldn't attract much attention. It would be convenient to attack them in an area close to the death trap, correct? Well, it is true, but it's still far too risky to attack him there. Keep it in mind that John Seething had been waiting for his revenge for 13 years. To risk being caught by attacking him in the chambers would be probably taking far too many chances. Unless, of course, there was a place both secluded and near the death trap. Ah, you mean... Naturally, I'm talking about the bunker underneath the judge's chambers. Provisions found there have already proved Corey Rupture had been in the bunker. It's the defense's belief that it was in this bunker that the killer and victim met up. This is where Corey Rupture spent his last moments of consciousness. Order. Order in the court. Intriguing. Please continue, defense. Of course, Your Honor. Rupture was blackmailed to spend his last moments camping down in the underground bunker. What exactly his instructions to do down there are, as of yet, unclear. But either way, this made the perfect place to lay the final groundwork for the trap. The killer attacked the victim, knocking him unconscious. Then, he carried Rupture's unconscious body up to the ladder and placed him in the death trap. That sounds like quite a very difficult task to accomplish. It probably was. He must have been winded after all that was said and done. However, his hatred ran strong, so it kept him going for 13 long years after all. Well, John, what do you have to say to that? You can't be serious. What? What do you mean? See, what you said isn't even possible, Justice. If I managed to carry Rupture up the ladder through the sheer grit and determination, I wouldn't have been able to set him up in the death trap. And why not exactly? See, I saw the blueprints for these vents. I know how they work. I tried to get Rupture in the vents using the pulley. He'd be on the side of the vents with a pulley. Meaning, of course, he wouldn't be pulled toward the trap door. On the other hand, if I then tried to pull him up the other side of the trap, pull him to the other side of the door to set up the trap, well, we both would have fallen through. That's actually a good point.
Objection.
Theory? Well, the solution is obvious, isn't it? Why assume the fireplace passage only connects to the judge's chambers? Must have carried Coy to another judge's chambers that day. Go to the vents from that other judge's chambers instead of the death trap. Problem solved. Hey, that's a good point. Sounds like a plausible explanation to me, Judge Erie.
Objection.
Yo, what the hell, dude? Just supposed to be me and Justice right now. Butt out. Oh, really? If I remember, your exact words were, no Mr. Wright, no Mr. Edgeworth, and no jury. Last I checked, I'm not included in that list. You would make a good lawyer. Besides, I have a good idea of whose chambers you used that day. Judge Pret Judas. Pret Judas. Ah, I see what you did there. I'm also thinking of the an alternate name version that sounds a bit more natural but retains the same pun. Brett Judas. On account of being suspected of embezzlement. Wait, you can't mean the embezzlement trial. That's right, he was the one Coy was supposed to defend that day. It all comes full circle. Well, shit. Alright. The rumors that he took bribes from businessmen and politicians for verdicts. But he was on trial for supposedly pocketing funds from his cousin's business. Afraid that's the most I can help you with, Mr. Justice. I'm clueless from this point forward. It's okay. I got it from here. John must have used the other pulley to pull the victim up to the vents. After all, the remote for that pulley was not in police custody. Once everything was set up, you removed the pulley from that pulley from the vents. So you see, it's entirely possible for you to have attacked Rupture and knocked him unconscious.
Objection.
Alright, we're cooking. Oh, we're back on this, are we? The idea that I attacked Corey. With what exactly? My charming smile. Clearly, I didn't attack him with my bare hands if he didn't even lay a scratch on me. He does have a point, Mr. Justice. If the two had gotten into a struggle, Mr. Seething would have been hurt in the process. Yet he seems completely unharmed. So he must have attacked the victim using some kind of weapon, then. Just have to try and figure out what he was attacked with, then. Very well. Please add this statement to your argument. You still won't give up. Fine. You're really starting to get on my nerves, you know that? Let's try this.
Objection.
Actually, we already have the perfect candidate for the potential weapon of assault. In fact, there was also something found in the underground bunker. What'd you say? I would like to remind you, everyone, of the existence of this magnetic stopper. Removed in the day of the murder to set up the death trap to hang the victim. Then it was used to knock the victim unconscious. Yeah. Order in the court. The fact that the killer used this stopper as the weapon to knock the victim unconscious means they must have entered from the unused vents that day. It's the defense's belief that after he grabbed the stopper, Seething exited the vents. And then entered the bunker, either from the crime scene or from Judge Judas's chambers. Wouldn't that leave bruises on Mr. Seething if that were the case? Of course, but it's likely that those bruises have already healed by now. Therefore, his lack of bruises does not prove he never went through the vents at all.
Objection.
Come on, Justice, get serious. You know, I'm not the only one who could have used that passage. Jerry could have used it too. In fact, him being at the crime scene is proof he must have used those vents that day. After all, how else did he get into those chambers? Maybe no need for her quality read to use the vent passageway that day. I have proof to back that up. Very well, Mr. Justice, let's see that proof of yours. Because he had a perfectly fine passageway of his own. Did we all forget why the defendant was suspected in the first place? His bookcase passage connects to the scene of the crime. A bookcase passage? Oh, were you not here to hear about that, John? All judges' chambers have a bookcase passage in case of an emergency. In fact, the broken hinges on the bookcase prove he did use it that day. Of course, you didn't count on that being the case. You didn't know he'd enter that way. I mean, you couldn't have predicted him finding the body. Gah! Why you? How about it, John? Finally ready to give up? Huh. You really think I'm giving up that so easily, Justice? Oh, come on. It'll take you to finally give up. You've done a good job of weaving a narrative of speculation and what-ifs. But you really can't connect it all back to me, can you? What are you talking about? Your theory is so reliant on me being your killer, Justice, but there's one major problem. Nothing tied back to me. Nothing at all. The letter. You wrote the letter. You even admitted it yourself.
Objection!
Get real, Justice. You know everything I said during the larceny trial was bogus. Just need an excuse to keep the trial going so I can back Steele into the ultimate corner. I'm the one who attacked Troy that day. Prove it. For Pete's sake! How can I possibly prove something like that? Maybe I need to turn my thinking around. Maybe it's already been proven. Huh. That's odd to be it. Somewhere in John's argument already exists the proof I need. So one last connection should be all I need to finally fill in the gap. Alright. Ambushed in the bunker. Let's see, we gotta connect here. Let's connect. Is this it? In the bunker. The letter in the bunker. This feels like the point to connect.
Objection!
No? Don't see anything wrong. Gotta be this, though. What is it? So... we're just gonna see how this... We're just gonna see how this connects. This is it. This connection proves my case. What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Yeah, good question. I want to know that answer, too. Main problem with trying to tie this crime back to John Seething all comes back to one issue. There's simply no smoking gun to connect back to him. All there is to connect him back to the crime are the people involved. That's really it. Indeed. Is it the reference to the letter? He's been able to so easily explain away his connection to the crime itself. It all changes when you consider one thing that destroys his argument. And what's that, Mr. Justice? John simply had his hands on one thing that he shouldn't have. One thing he shouldn't have. Once again, it all comes down to this blackmail letter. We already know this letter was sent to Corey Rupture. After all, this letter is the reason he was at the underground bunker to begin with. Oh. Oh. Alright. Alright. Then that just leaves us with one major question left. Alright. I will take the L on that. Does that make sense? That makes a whole lot of sense, and that's something we could have figured out. I feel like I've done actually pretty well piecing this mystery together. Like there's the 3 tiers of Phoenix Wright contradictions. There's the ones that I have no clue what the hell they mean and how they work, but they just advance the story. There's ones that I have no clue what the hell they mean and how they work, but after I present it, the explanation makes sense. And there's the ones that we can logically piece together, and it's less and less a tier list and more of a skill issue, I am finding. Why did John have this letter during the larceny trial? That's an excellent point. He shouldn't have had it. This letter is the smoking gun. A piece of evidence that ties the crime back to John Seething. Oh fuck, that's actually really good. Because the only way he could have had this letter is if he ambushed Corey Rupture at the bunker. That's actually really fucking good. Ah! Oh shit. Order, I demand order. This is indeed very damning for Mr. Seething's claims. Logically speaking, if Corey Rupture was the one to receive the blackmail letter, there should be no reason he would have it for the trial on the day of the murder.
Objection!
Hang on, this isn't over yet. You don't have proof the letter was even sent to Corey in the first place. They're missing the other half of the letter. You can't claim to know what it said. Mr. Seething, I'm afraid it no longer matters anymore. Or what? Don't you remember? I don't need an unreasonable level of proof to bring you down. The argument has a lot of very obvious holes that you just can't explain. My theory, however, is logically sound. All they really needed was a definitive reason to suspect you of the crime. Let the jury decide what to make of it now. The jury? Well, guys, you've given both sides. What do you think? I don't know. I don't know who to believe anymore. Fine. Convince me, Red Horn. The kid is clearly lying out of his butt. I mean, there's just nothing convincing really tying it back to the defendant anymore. I'm trying so hard to see your side, but the defense is so solid. I need more to declare a guilty verdict. Without it, I'm siding with him. This has been enlightening, I think. I must concur with the defense. He is right. Now, come on, you're siding with him. It's all over now, John. Your argument has fallen flat. You can't defend yourself in this judgment any further. It's all thanks to you. Yeah, because it was you who presented the letter to this court. If you hadn't done that, you wouldn't have proven that you were tied to this crime. It was the one piece of evidence we needed, and you handed it to us on a silver platter. No! That is a really clever piece of logic. It seems at last that there are no more arguments to be made. Indeed. What a truth these arguments have led us to. It stands evidence against the defendant Herquan Avery is now lacking. Meanwhile, the case against Jonathan Seething has become incredibly strong indeed. Indeed, that does seem to be how things are leaning. The evidence presented would not be strong enough in a trial using the bench trial system. However, a trial by a jury is a horse of a different color. Judge Erie's innocence and Judge Seething's guilt are clear for anyone to see, simply by nature of it being the most logical explanation for the crime. Where the evidence is lacking, the jury's common sense and feelings will fill in the blanks. Indeed, and so the time has come to trust they know what is right. With that, I believe the time has come to turn to the jury for the verdict.
Objection!
Oh? Sigh. What'd you just say, Justice? His innocence and my guilt are clear for anyone to see? Don't make me laugh. That's pathetic. Seriously, what more could you possibly have to say? It's all over, John. We've done all we can. Nothing left to discuss. We just have to let the jury come to their own conclusions.
Objection!
Come to their own conclusions, you say? Yeah, sure. I'm sure that it's totally what it is. As we consider being spoon-fed what they're supposed to think their own conclusions.
Objection!
I don't know what you're getting at, Jonathan. The jury has been given the truth of the matter. It's as simple as that. The truth according to who? To you, Mr. Edgeworth? You failed to argue in favor of the defendant's guilt. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was supposed to be the prosecutor today. Oh, wait, I'm not. It's supposed to be your job. And it's no wonder I was floundering around up here. Got no support from anyone. I was left to fend for myself. Just like what Corey and Steele did to me all those years ago. Last time that happened, a guilty man walked free. This is not the same thing. Isn't it, though? You abandoned your duties as a prosecutor. Oh, fuck. Didn't give me a chance to explain my side at all. You were against me from the start. The chief prosecutor decides he wants to play defense attorney during such an important case. Oh, with that attitude, it's no wonder your offices are in complete shambles. No.
Objection!
Mr. Edgeworth helped us to pursue the truth. That's what matters.
Objection!
Wrong-o. We helped you argue your case. You all ganged up on me and expected me to handle a 2v1. You call that a fair and balanced trial? No, of course you do. I mean, this trial is the brainchild of Phoenix Wright, after all. What are you truly fighting for, Justice? What do you think you're achieving? You think this jurist system with what? End the so-called dark age of the law? That you've been told to believe? By who? An ex-lawyer bitter about losing his badge? Newsflash, Justice. There's corruption in our courts. It's always been there. There was no dark age because there was never a bright age. It's always been this way. So ask again, what are you fighting for? What am I fighting for? I've never even really stopped to think about it at all. Is it really something I believe? Is it something that I've been told to believe in? No, wait! Can't get tripped up by empty platitudes. If you've got anything to say, then I'll say it to the jury, John. They're the ones who will decide your fate. Alright, I can play that game. I'm sure many of you share the same doubts I do, after all. Sure, there have been questions running through your mind about all this. Like why you're taking orders from a man who was disbarred 7 years ago. Man, so disgruntled at the world, he decided that he thought the world had to change for him. He didn't create the jurist system to fix anything. He created it for sheer petty revenge. And you all fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Mr. Gambit, that is enough. Enough with what? Telling it like it is? Let's face it, Mr. Wright has been running this entire game. Both the prosecution and the defense colluded with him to pin this crime on me. You were never given the option to think for yourselves. Mr. Seething, that's enough. Jurors, please disregard what has just been said. What's that? Can't handle a bit of criticism? I'm not allowed to speak my mind, am I? Any dissenting opinion must be silenced? It's like our courts to censor the voices of those who go against their narrative.
Objection!
Your words are hollow, John. No matter what you say, you can't overturn one simple fact. My theory still explains everything about this crime.
Objection!
Oh, really? Everything you say? Would you be willing to stake your entire case on it? What's he getting at? You still have yet to even see it, do you? You haven't even realized it yet. There's still one last contradiction in the facts you have yet to explain. One last contradiction? What's he talking about? Hold on. Remember now. Can't possibly mean... It's actually a bit strange. What was? Based on the blood splatter, he should have been right on top of the fireplace. But he was instead found right next to it. Yes, Justice, I'm talking about the blood splatter on the fireplace. So in your theory, he should have been lying right on top of the fireplace when we entered. He wasn't. He had to have been moved by somebody. It couldn't have been me. I was in court right up until we all walked up into that room. He's right. The way he could have moved the body before anyone saw it. The only one who could have had that opportunity is... Uh-oh. No. He can't be insinuating. Can he? Well, anything you want to say? Or Quell, Erie? What? Why are you all looking at me? Judge Erie? You didn't. Well, you see, I saw Corey lying on the ground. Tried to see if it was possible to save him, so I pulled him out from under the fireplace. That's when I saw the gash on his head, and... Judge Erie, are you really confessing to tampering with a crime scene? Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. Well, goddamn. There you have it. Prosecutor won't prosecute a defendant who tampered with evidence. All run by a man trying to take revenge on a world that took his badge. Is the kind of world you're going to stand for? Or give him the chance to finally right these wrongs, to finally let justice prevail. Or you could let history repeat itself again. You could once again let the courts bully John Seething, the young boy who lost his parents. Let the courts continue to abuse their power to destroy his life. Is this what you want? For this cycle of abuse to continue into the future? You gonna stand for that? No, not again. Juror 1? Won't let what happened to John happen again, not after I saw him hurting so much. I side with John. He won't be a part of this game any longer. What? Yeah, lay off of me, you jerk. Hey, John, is it like that? John, I'm with you, now and forever. The hell you two on about? You had an entire trial to prove he's a liar. Kid makes one speech, and that's all it takes for you to forget all that? Yeah, the case against the defendant isn't exactly super strong. Shut up. Nobody asked you. Hey! What's going on right now? The jury, it's going completely out of control. We're gonna enter the hung jury, aren't we? How ironic that in a case... Oh, how ironic that in a case that started 13 years ago with John Seething's parents being hung to death. And it's going to end with John Seething setting up an elaborate death trap to hang Corey Rupture to death, and John Seething hanging the jury. How friggin' poetic is that? I, for one, stand firmly with the defendant on this matter. I believe in Judge Jerry's innocence. This man has not lied to us so far. He didn't lie to us, he tampered with a crime scene. On the fact that Mr. Seething has been fighting both the prosecution and the defense. How can we trust he's truly innocent with all this? Guys, let's just talk this out. No, there's been enough talking. We need to take action now. Time for deliberation is over. I say we pass our judgments now. No, hold on. Wait just one moment. Guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty. 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 Oh, yep, we are exactly hung. Juror 5, I thought better of you. I guess you had to turn 2 in order to, What the heck? It's not possible. I don't believe it. No, they wouldn't. Is this really happening? What's going on? What are they doing? The jurors, they're completely split down the middle. What's going on? The jury can't agree on a verdict. But the defense made such a solid case. Why are they so split on this? The prosecution did gang up on him, too. That forger is in charge of the jury. They're supposed to work this stuff out. Is this the future of our courts? Can we really trust a jury to handle a case like this ever again? And they can't even agree here? Order! 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 No, this isn't good. They can't agree on a verdict, then. Wait, no, hold on. Please reconsider your positions. You need to agree on a verdict. Please, change your votes. Ha! Not changed my vote. I know I'm right. Neither am I, Buster. You guys change your votes. I'm certain in my vote. There can be no mistake. Are you implying I made a mistake? The sheer audacity. I am implying, jury number 1, that you did not make a judgment based on the facts of the case. You made a judgment purely on emotion. I'm not changing my vote. You change your vote. Jury number 5, I seriously thought better of you. You were one of the most rational jurors of this whole point in time. I agree that you need to stop and think about what exactly that Judge Erie confession here has changed, and it's not that much. Fucking heck. No, I won't. I can't. You do it. This isn't happening. This can't be happening right now. Why won't they just talk it out? Why won't they agree on a verdict? What was I fighting for this entire time? For this to be the outcome? Now, at last, you understand, Mr. Justice? You finally understand what I've been trying to tell you all along. All of this Jurist System, just a band-aid solution. Can't weed out the problems without a fundamental shake-up. All this is just for show. Just as I've said, you can't fix a system that's rotten to its core. You, curse you. Jonathan Seething, whether Aiden Gambit, the man who replaced him. Stop at nothing until you are brought to justice, Gambit, I swear it. Oh, please, it's the sound of a pathetic man who knows he's lost. He's completely recovered. It's what your creed has earned you. It's the bed of your own making. Truth? Justice? All an illusion. Only justice in this world is what you make for yourself. I know you're stubborn, so it's not like you'll listen anyways. Why, John? Why would you do this? Does your hatred know no limits? Your vengeance no bounds? What if you made your mission to destroy our hopes for the future? Don't think I don't see you glaring at me, Justice. If you're planning on giving me a lecture, I'm not interested in hearing it. Maybe you don't approve my actions, but I don't care. I at least know they're mine to make. Can you say the same about yourself, Justice? Who are you really fighting for, Justice? Yourself? Was it for an old geezer who thought he could change the world and dragged you into his game? Think long and hard about it. I think we both know the answer you'll come to. Who am I fighting for? Is this really my fight? I truly believe in the chance for a better tomorrow at all. Am I just chasing someone else's dream? And it can be so close to justice. And it can slip out of our grasp at the last second. Is the future truly worth fighting for? What's the point in fighting to begin with? Mr. Wright, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can fight for your dream. I don't know why I was even fighting to begin with. What's with the long face, son? Why did I become a lawyer, you ask? Good question. Because everybody needs someone on their side at some point in their life. The lawyer's job to never give up on their client at their hour of need. That's why I've always lived by one motto. A dragon never yields. Everybody needs someone on their side at some point in their life. Fuck, yeah. John never had that. I think I understand. John Seething, he never had anybody on his side. That's why he lost hope. You know what it's like to feel abandoned by the world. I feel so alone and unloved. I don't know why you left me behind. I don't know if I'll ever come to terms with it. I don't know if I'll ever forgive you for abandoning me. Even so, I find myself turning to your words time and time again. Because John speaks with such vitriol, such anger at the world. Could I have gone down that path, I wonder? See you in Dual Destinies. If I hadn't met the people important to me, to guide me, Clay, Trucy, Mr. Wright, maybe I too could have become just like John, embittered by a world that scorned me. Even then, he recovered from it. There's a coldness in his eyes. He smiles, but there's no happiness. He's acting like he's won a huge victory. Like he's on top of the world and can't be touched. And really, he's suffering. He can't be happy about anything. He lost that feeling long ago. Hatred really is all he has left. Because he can't trust anyone anymore. He didn't have to be like this. He needed was one person to stick by his side in his grief. Instead, he got a man looking to exploit his grief. A man who refused to defend him. Because of that, John Seething died, killed by their negligence. And in his place, Aiden Gambit was born. Used to think I fought to expose the John Seethings of this world. Maybe I've been fighting to prevent more Aiden Gambits from being created. Maybe too late for him. There are others out there just like him in this world. Those who suffer because they don't have anyone on their side. Be right there to support them when they need me the most. Here's where we stand with this matter. Due to the jury not reaching a consensus, a verdict cannot be declared at this time. However, the defense and prosecution have no more deliberations to make. This I'm giving the jury until tomorrow morning this time. Pray that we make it a unanimous vote before time is up. What about me? What happens to me? Defendant, or Quala V, shall remain in detention until this trial reaches its end. The verdict is not reached when time is up. We shall cross that bridge when we come to it. Well, now it seems you weren't able to pin this on me. Too bad. So sad for you. Is this really it? There's nothing more that can be done. What do I even do now? The worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. with that look, Justice? Finally lost your mind? Or are you just trying to hide your embarrassment from everyone else? The only one hiding anything here is you, John. This smile's because I finally realized who you really are. Who I really am. Yeah, it's not Aiden Gambit, the cocky, calculating defense attorney. Nor is it John Seething, the hate-filled spirit out for revenge. Deep down, you're still just that scared little kid hiding under the bed. For 13 long years, you've been hiding away, hoping for the pain to go away. Hoping that if you keep hiding, the world will stop being that big, scary place you feared. That never happened. The world never became any less frightening. Trauma remained. You never came to terms with what had happened to you. So you made a choice to get back at the people who wronged you. Made the wrong choice. And now, you have to keep hiding. Because the moment you stop will come for you. This is your punishment, John. Retribution for your actions. You'll try to run, but we'll chase you, no matter how long it takes. If you're never found, even if you never see the day behind bars for your crimes, you'll be that boy hiding under the bed forever, never able to truly come out from the shadows. Big words coming for the lose inside. Talk big all you want, but nothing will change in that in the end you failed. This ends our game, Justice. Gotta admit, it's been fun. Say what you want, John. You know deep down that I'm right. You could run and hide, but we know you're out there now. Jonathan Seething, I promise you this isn't over. Well, so brought the trial of her quality read to a close. The verdict undecided, I was forced to stick around all night to try and sort things out. Deliberations went back and forth, but in the end, not a single person changed their vote. It was truly exhausting. All hope was basically lost that a verdict would be declared. At the same time, while court wasn't in session, Apollo continued his investigation. He hoped to find some sort of evidence to convince the jury of Seething's guilt. The search brought him once again to the underground library. Ooh, okay. Come on, Apollo. Must have been through this shelf 5 times by now. I'm sorry, it's not my fault all these files look the same. The organization down here is all out of whack. Was anyone supposed to find anything down here? They weren't, remember? All these files were supposed to be secret from the public. I know that, but still. A bit of cleanliness never hurt anybody. The search seems pretty hopeless. What could they even hope to find down here? I told you, Emma. Corey Rupture was sent down here for a reason. Can't have just been camping out down here, just waiting to die. He's looking for something. How could you be so sure? And he came down here because he was being blackmailed. Killing Rupture was all about John. All John was concerned about. There'd be no need to have him camp out. He had just told Rupture to meet him here the day of the murder, if that was his plan. What Rupture was looking for must have taken him a while to find it. Alright, I'll search in this direction. No idea if I'll even find anything, but... Ah, hold on. What's this? What? What is it? This section is missing a file, and its place is this. Ah, it can't be. Let me see that. The one who saved my life. Now that I have your attention, your instructions are as follows. Send a letter to Manny Steele and threaten him to steal the AS-10 files from the chief prosecutor. Enter through the courthouse vents at the side of the building and try not to be seen. There's a secret passageway in Judge Judas's chambers. Press the button on the fireplace. Enter into the passageway and look through the files in the underground library. Look through the files and collect all the information you can on the man called Noah Baggage. It'll take several days to find what you need. Bring food and clothes. Failure to comply will result in a secret you've kept hidden for 13 long years being revealed. Not betray me again. I am watching you. Signed, the Spirit of Seething. This is the second half of Corey Rupture's blackmail letter. It was everything that I was trying to say at the trial. I don't get it. Why would he tell the victim to blackmail Steele? Couldn't he just do it himself in that case? Firstly, his original trial plan was to pin the blame on Rupture. Like he needed the second letter for evidence pointing to that. His plans changed because of Mr. Edgeworth. Secondly, his plan relied on Steele having some sort of trust in him, enough to be his lawyer. If he sent that letter, it's unlikely Steele would have trusted him at all. Guess that makes sense. This letter also says to enter from Judge Judas's chambers, not from the crime scene. think this means the passage at the crime scene wasn't what Rupture and Seething used. Probably. His Honor's brother's chambers were chosen at the crime scene to frame him. Judge Judas's chambers were probably safer to use for getting into the bunker. He was arrested for embezzlement, right? Right. Oh, there's one other thing you should see. What is it? It's this, the letter that was hidden with the first. Another letter? What kind of letter? Just reading the first few lines, I would say that this is Corey Rupture's last will and testament. What? That's not possible. That would mean... If this is his will, it means he came here knowing he would die. As I sit here, struggling to keep awake in the darkness, I think back to how I got into this mess. Seems the boy has remembered who I am after all. He's using that as leverage for his demands. In this case scenario, it won't be necessary for me to even leave this behind in the first place. But I feel a sense of endless dread as I continue to follow my Blackmailer's instructions. I can feel it. My task here is but a mere distraction. There can be only one reason I was brought here. This darkness is to be my tomb. As such, I feel it necessary to hide away this letter, as well as my Blackmailer's instructions. To anyone who finds this letter, consider it a confession of my most heinous crime. I am the one who saved Jonathan Seething. The attempt at his life was not a lie. Yet I fabricated evidence to suggest his story was a mere work of fiction. Murdy was a guilty man, yet not once did I regret my trick to get him declared innocent. Afterwards I hid John away from the world to pretend he no longer existed. That was not the end of it. The boy who has once again returned to haunt me for my sins. If all goes well and I survive this ordeal, I will burn this letter as soon as I possibly can. Should I die, however, know that Jonathan Seething is my killer. Seething, disguised as Aiden Gambit, will stop at nothing to get revenge on those responsible for the death of his parents 13 long years ago. We are all at risk. Nobody is safe anymore. Know this. John really is to kill me here. It would be a blessing rather than a curse. This is the secret I've been trying to hide for 13 years. If it was revealed, it would ruin me. I'd rather die than see the day when this happens. I have no regrets. I have lived a life of fame and success. Wow, you're a coward of a different sort. Very well, and bring my murderer to justice. Signed, Corey Rupture. Emma, this is it. This is just what we need. Yes. Ooh. This feels conflicting. Nobody on the jury can deny this evidence. This proves John's the killer. Apollo. You need to take this to them right away. Maybe they can change their... Apollo! Yeah! It's over, Apollo. There's no way that's gonna happen. Why not? Wish over there what time is up then. Apollo, time's up in 2 minutes. Even to get through the door. 2 minutes? You mean... It's 12:28. You'd be there by 12:30. Isn't happening. Just get out of this bunker if you're a fast climber. No. Wasted too much time. Believe it, I couldn't find the evidence I needed in time. Look, it's okay, Apollo. Not the evidence you needed. It's better than nothing. Maybe. Now I'm left with even more questions. Like the other half of the letter mentions Noah Baggage. It's not the same Noah Baggage I'm thinking of, is it? Politician? You mean Senator Noah Baggage? That could be likely. It's that the dude has done some shady crap, but what's new with politicians? I mean, you should probably be made aware of this. AS-10 files mentions that the killer may have been connected to a politician. I don't think that maybe that politician was... That makes sense that Baggage would have silenced Murdeer after he was found innocent. Because... God, Corey Rupture is the fucking worst after all, isn't he? Because Corey Rupture had to win his case at all costs. The man's daughter died. He was a guilty man, but he was a contract killer. The man's daughter fucking died. Being silenced by... Wow, what a cruel, cruel series of events we have here. Look, I'm not going to say anything that could get me fired, Apollo. I will say that eyes are turned on him right now after some recent events. Recent events? What recent events? Like his cousin embezzling funds from his company, for instance. Embezzling funds? Wait, you can't mean... Yeah, his cousin is Judge Prejudice. Unbelievable. Now everything connects back to Baggage. We're getting close to the end of the story, but we're only going deeper down. Yeah, don't know how much further we'll get now. Could have pinned Seething. We might have been able to start getting answers to those questions, but that stupid jury. We almost had him. He was right there. And they just let him go. Because they let their emotions get in the way. Jurors 1 and 4 knew John from before. Let their biases get in the way. And Juror 5, she wanted to be fair, but she let him get into her head. Yeah, she changed her vote at the last minute, all because he told her the trial was a sham. Well, look, it's okay. No, it's not. Do you remember what this trial was supposed to be, Apollo? What it was trying to do? Test the Jurist System. The updated Jurist System, which had its really good points. Oh no, that's right. This was supposed to be an important trial. It was supposed to be the final test run. How's it going to look, Apollo? How do you think people will react to this news? The Jurist System tripped at the finish line. The jury wasn't able to reach a verdict. You know what happens when a trial ends without a verdict being declared, Apollo? Declaration of mistrial. For all intents and purposes, we're supposed to act like this trial never happened. This is a disaster. What will people think of the Jurist System now? Look, Apollo, for what it's worth, I doubt Judge Erie will be tried again. This new evidence, the finger points away from him. Now, you put an APB ad for Jonathan Seething, but he's probably long gone by now. See, I wouldn't expect him to stick around. He probably knows we're after him now. Look, Apollo, I don't say this very often, but I don't know what Mr. Wright was thinking. What? What do you mean? I mean, the whole Jurist System thing. How can we trust something with such blatant flaws? The public, they'll see this final test was a mistrial and wonder what the hell went wrong. And those in the know will see a guilty man exploiting the system to walk away free. Ask yourself, Apollo, is that really the change we need? Are we really okay with taking this risk ever again? Just because people complain about a dark age? Because Seething was right on one thing. The dark age of the law is just a hoax. Bad actors have existed in our courts for a while. I've seen it with my own eyes. Because a few famous... God damn it, Gant. Because a few famous lawyers got caught, the media is acting like this is a new thing. The Jurist System was meant to end the Dark Age. You can't even end what never existed at all. I fucking love this depiction. I love the turn that it took. Because, like, I think I've said this way back when I played the first few parts. And this was when we first had this discussion. Because I love the turn. I fucking love this perception of the Dark Age of the Law. And it feels like they kind of leaned into it. They kind of leaned into it with like Spirit of Justice and Roger Vettins. That Spirit of Justice case too, being media blowing it out of proportion. But this is the perfect. We have reached the ideal depiction of the Dark Age of the Law. I fucking love this. It's so true. So reality, what was the point in all this? What were we trying to accomplish? What was I trying to accomplish? It all comes back to this again. We had promised to fight for the change we needed to see in these courts. Is this really the change we needed? Was it really worth it in the end? What is the Dark Age of the Law? What does it really mean? Is the Jurist System the key to ending it? What do I really want? That's it? What do you mean that's it? Hi, Athena. I mean, that's it. That's the end of the story. Huh? No, that can't be it. What happened to John Seething? Surely he must have found it by now. Disappeared shortly after the trial was put on hold. He was never seen again. We don't know where he is or what he's planning. Or if he is planning anything. What about the trial? Apollo had the evidence. He must have been able to... A trial? Our trial ended while he and Emma were still in the bunker. And exactly as they predicted, without a concrete verdict, a mistrial was declared. And that was that. That was the end of the Jurist System. It was deemed the Jurist System was far too risky and experimental to continue using. So I had to say goodbye to my baby. All because the jury couldn't reach a verdict during the final test. Qualavia was at least spared any more trouble thanks to the new evidence. Rumors say he took this as a sign to move to a better district and booked it up north. At least I think so. I haven't heard from him since then. What about everyone else? What happened to them? Randy Steele has been disgraced ever since the truth of the AS-10 incident was revealed. He was swiftly disbarred after the trial. Things have been rough for him ever since. Or because we all wanted to sweep this under the rug, he's never formally charged with any of his crimes. Too surprising to hear, but it is kind of sad in a way. Only he knew the kind of trouble he would cause by refusing to speak up for John. Betty regrets everything and wishes he'd done it differently. Vera still works with the police to track down her former forgeries to this day. Sadly, she no longer does commission work. She's very careful about her projects. Shame. Sounds very talented. Seems she learned a very harsh lesson. Road is cruel sometimes. Yeah, that we can both agree on. The rest of the story speaks for itself. Even if it ended in a mistrial, they still had to make a case file about the incident. There are only 2 copies of that file in existence. Edgeworth has the other one. They're supposed to treat it like it never happened. It doesn't have an official case number. So we've unofficially taken to calling it codename Gambit. That's why Gambit was written on the file. Well. As for how I learned about it, I was sifting through some of Apollo's old files, same as you. And he caught me and told me not to read it, but I kinda didn't listen. Curious Jane is her spirit animal, it seems. Apollo and I had to explain the same story to her when she went snooping around. That's about all there is to say about this matter. Come on, Athena. It's not all bad. Sure, things sucked at the time. Like, really sucked. Things got better. I think this experience was important for me. And he realized I needed to take a more direct approach to ending the dark age of the law. Edgeworth came to the agency not too long after that to convince me to retake the bar exam. To top it all off, I added a new member to this little family of ours. It's you, Athena. I'm sure Apollo isn't with us for the time being. I trust him when he says it won't be forever. Believe me, Athena, things will be just fine. Future looks bright. Fuck, even with the development that we had for Apollo and his own personal journey in this trial, and the references to Dirk, Dragon never yields, making his own choices versus pursuing Mr. Wright's dream. That just sort of paints his trips to Kurain and his actions in the spirit of justice that's making his own choices. He's finally making his own choices and fighting for what he believes in. It's fucking good. The reason I told you the story isn't to wallow in my self-pity. Move past that attribute. Consider what I've told you today a cautionary tale, Athena. A tale of a man, bitter at the world for wronging him and thinking he can do better. In many ways, my attitude wasn't too dissimilar to John's. Instead of burning the world, I thought I could rebuild it into something better. I was a fool. I was the one who needed to change. I flew too close to the sun. It was a harsh lesson to learn. One I'm glad I did anyways. Remember my story, Athena. Remember it and learn from my mistakes. Don't be like me. Don't let your troubles cloud your vision of the future. Those visions never made in the past. The dead dream of a man who was just bitter at the world.
Objection!
Oh, hold on, Mr. Wright. I don't buy that for 1 second. Buy? Buy what? You don't have to play dumb, boss. I mean the Jurist System. I don't believe you think the dream is dead. I don't believe you think the dream is dead. Look, Athena, you don't have to try to cheer me up. You're fine, promise. Move past it. You really, though? You know you can't really hide anything from me. Paul's not the only one with a special talent, you know? I can hear it, Mr. Wright. I can hear the discord in your heart. All this time you've tried to pretend you've moved on, that you don't care anymore. But you still do. You haven't let go of it. Only given up hope. Maybe you're right, Athena. Maybe I haven't let go yet. But so what? All that does is prove I'm still just a fool who can't let go of the past. That's not true either, boss. You know the Jurist System has its merits. You positive about that? You just tried to make me feel better with empty words. Words? No, I didn't just bring words to prove my point. I have evidence to back up what I'm saying. What? Evidence? Proves the words the Jurist System is. Huh. We're gonna go back to that first summation examination when we figured out the pulley trick.
Take that!
That pulley? This was the start of Apollo's counterattack, the evidence that tied everything together. With this, he was able to figure out how Corey Rupture actually died. Without this, he didn't have an argument. His case was dead in the water. In fact, his case was dead. Quality V was declared guilty. If this were any other trial, that would be the end of it. It wasn't any other trial. He had one last trick up its sleeve. A summation examination. He was given a second chance, a way to continue even after everything seemed hopeless. And then the unthinkable happened. Feast your eyes on this. What is that? Some kind of pulley? Go! Mr. Edgeworth, are you okay? Sky, are you sure you found this pulley in the vents? Mr. Edgeworth, what's wrong? Why do you have to look? Just answer the question, detective. Yeah, I'm sure that's where I found it. Sky, Mr. Justice, you don't realize. I've seen an identical pulley to this one recently, which is evidence in the larceny trial against Manny Steele. Huh? What? That was the start of everything. That pulley was vital to proving the truth of the case. Apollo would have never found it if it were not for the help of the jury. So what? John Seething still got away in the end. Fat load of good that pulley did. I mean, we never would have even exposed him. Try telling that to her, Quality. Without the Jurist System, we'd have it much worse than a guilty man walking free. An innocent man would have been made to take his place. We're so concentrated on punishing the guilty that we forget justice doesn't end there. Justice always also means protecting the innocent, too. If we can only have one, I'll take protecting the innocent every single time. I don't care if John Seething gets away. I don't care if 100 John Seethings get away. For Quality is a free man. He would have taken the fall without the Jurist System. Huh. We really did learn quite a bit from him. What can we even do now? The Jurist System was already dismantled a long time ago. We have to try to get them to listen, to try it out again. What would I even say to them after what happened last time? What else? Tell them the truth. Tell them it will end the dark age of the law. Because after listening to this story, I think I finally understand. We are in a dark age, but it's not caused by bad actors using faulty evidence. All that is just surface-level stuff the media picked up on. True dark age of the law is stagnation, or a refusal to deal with the corruption. Corey Rupture was a corrupt man before the dark age supposedly even began. But Manny Steele is an example of what I'm talking about. He saw the corruption, but he refused to do anything about it. He let it happen. You don't have to be like that. The corruption will take on new forms. If we're willing to change to fight them, we can do it. We can create a better world. I believe the Jurist System is the change we need right now. Not your belief, is it? The bottom of my heart. Well then, I suppose I should get going, shouldn't I? Going? Going where? Well, to my bedroom first thing. Gotta put on a suit. Then, gotta make a few phone calls. Wait, you mean... Convince me, Athena. I'm gonna give it another shot. Hey! Boss! I can't believe I actually convinced him! Daddy! You're out of your funk! Guess I was in a bit of a mood today, wasn't I? I swear, wearing this hoodie does strange things to you. Right? Does that mean you're gonna have a talk with Mr. Edgeworth then? Among some others, yeah. Oh, he might not actually be the first I want to give a call to. Huh? Who's the first one? Apollo? Oh, that's for me to know, isn't it? Now you're keeping secrets from me too? Oy vey. Not again. Still, I can sense it. The discord in his heart is gone. In fact, I can hear a new confidence in it. He's back to his usual self. I can trust you to look after the office while I take care of a few things, right? Yes, boss. You can count on me. The gesture is sweet, but I was talking to Tracy. No! You can count on me, Daddy. We'll have this place spick and span in no time. Isn't that right, Athena? Huh? Wait. No, I forgot. It's still cleaning day. Come on, this place isn't gonna clean itself. Grab a broom and start sweeping. Why? That's how I learned of the story of the secret trial. Gives me a lot to think about for the future of our courts. Will the Jurist System come back? Will we ever see John Seething once again? Will we ever learn what caused the AS-10 incident to occur? Maybe I'll get all the answers Sunday. All I know is Apollo left me a mission. Now it's my job to finish what he started. I'll do it, Apollo. The Jurist System doesn't just have to be a dream. The calls to Apollo. Oh, you reached the Justice and Co. law offices. How may I help you? Oh, I just wanted to talk to an old friend, that's all. Oh, Mr. Wright. Hey, Apollo. How have you been holding up? Well, you know, same old, same old. Rebuilding a legal system is hard. What about on your end? Anything exciting happen? What, I tell you about the case that happened on the blimp during the wedding? Not yet, but I did read about that. No, it's not completely boring there without me. Actually, Apollo, there was one thing I wanted to ask you about. Oh, then shoot. You remember the incident with John Seething, right? Pretty vividly, yeah. Well, the thing is, Athena, she found the file for that. Oh, did she now? What happened? Well, she was persistent. I had to tell her everything. You wouldn't happen to have a hand in this, would you? Ah, figured out it was me, huh? Yeah. I asked Trucy to leave the file out whenever you guys had your next cleaning day. Figured it's about time she knew what happened. So she could take over for you on that one, huh? Then? Yeah. That was one of the things I thought about before deciding to stay. I knew I couldn't just leave it if I didn't trust her with it. But I do. I think she's ready. But then all this time, you've never given up the dream. Even when I did. I had my doubts after that trial. I ultimately decided I couldn't just give up. The Jurist System saved Judge Erie's life. I couldn't have done that by myself. Honey, that's the exact reasoning she gave, too. You guys haven't secretly been rehearsing this, have you? Ha! No, don't worry. I need her to come to this conclusion herself. Well, it was a good reminder for me why I fought so hard for the Jurist System to begin with. Felt so lost after that trial. Convinced myself it was better to bury my dreams in the past. But seeing you two trying so hard to convince me to keep fighting renewed my spirit. So then you're gonna try again? Yeah. Won't be easy to convince the courts after what happened last time. But I have to try. Our courts need this change. I can't let it end here. The reason why I called you is to let you know. If I can get this thing started up again. You chose the right successor. The case is in good hands. I know. John is still out there. I know he's not done with his revenge. He'll be back one day. When that day comes, we need to be ready. I know I'm leaving my hope for the future with the right person. I know you'll continue on our hopes and dreams. You'll change things for the better. Athena, I'm counting on you. Oh, the end. Holy mother of good gracious. Woo! The Broken Commandments competition. Holy wow, mother of good graciousness. That was powerful. That was a whopper ending. It's pretty clear here based on the fact that I just played through the final portion of this chapter in one whole 230 hour. Ooh, overruled double. Major examination, final assessment pop-ups. Judgment. I think I have a playlist of songs that she. I think I have the YouTube playlist here. By SpongeSonic. Oh, okay. Objection. Oh, I like to think I've done a pretty solid job of unpacking this thus far. Yeah! Congratulations on winning. That's well fucking deserved, I think. Jonathan Seething will return. Oh, fuck. What? Hold it. No, I fucking won't. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting you to see you. Wasn't expecting to see you here. You don't have to be afraid. I don't have any intention of hurting you. And even if I did, I'm not exactly in a position where I can really do that. I called you here because I received a mysterious letter in the mail not too long ago. The ones that have cracked the case. Originally, this is where we planned for everything to come to a close. Villain escaped, systems in shambles, but there was hope for what's to come. The further we dug deeper, however, the more we realized we can't let it end there. There's still more to this mystery that needs to be explained. We can't close the case yet. We ask that you be patient as we uncover the last of the answers behind this tale. Signed, the Storytellers. I have no idea what it means. This sounds like a bunch of nonsense rambling to me. But I know it must be of importance to the situation I find myself in now. I guess what I'm trying to say is, Miss Sykes, I need your help. Whoa? Whoa! Whoa! Ah! Real. All right. If we look forward to whatever adventures we have planned next, I hope to see you again real soon. All right. I was not expecting it. I could have made an argument for a sequel hook. And it seemed like you left this off with a pretty good sequel hook. But holy, I was not expecting an actual sequel hook. I feel like the way this went, with Act 3 coming out separately from the first two acts, the more Act 3 got plotted out and produced, I feel like this idea, I feel like this ending and this sequel hook came about from the ultimate, from this being planned, this coming together, from Act 3 coming together. Man, oh my good God. I was getting ready to go into a long speech about how this is the perfect case 5 to Apollo Justice. Like, this has surpassed Turnabout Substitution as the Apollo Justice case 5. Like, now that we have a quote-unquote Apollo Justice trilogy, this would have been a perfect case 5 to transition from Dual Destinies from Apollo Justice into Dual Destinies. And hell, even the format that you did this in, taking place after Spirit of Justice. You know what? It's also a perfect format to serve as a case 5 to connect Apollo Justice to Dual Destinies. And it also turned out to be a perfect setup to move forward into Athena cases, because the next stage turning game should be an Athena Sykes game. Change my mind. Don't change my mind. Just make it so. But, God, diggity. Gosh diggity. Oh. Jonathan Seething is very much up there as my new favorite villains here. In fact, I'd have to go back and do a full-on, like, deep dive into all the games that I've played through the cases I've played through the years. But Jonathan Seething might have jumped nearly to the top of the list, just for how expertly, how well put together this third case was in general to bring this third act in general was that brought everything together. Everything together. Which means that the 3 acts were really brilliantly written in paste to come together into a complete package, building up to this end. As much as we struggled through it all with Manny Steele being the poor little meow pathetic worm that he was, fighting through all of his suffering, his struggling, and That was... Oh. I'm not even going to sit here and ramble here, because this music is also very loud in my ears, but that was amazing. That was amazing. Well done. Well friggin' done. Deserved winner there. My God. And I'm excited to see this. If this comes out in this form, or whatever form else it comes out in, I'm excited to see where this goes from here. Fucking amazing bit of, amazing, just... amazing case backstory ability whatsoever. Amazing villain. And still with those unanswered questions that we brought up near the end here. It's gritty, it's gritty, it's real, and it fits perfectly in universe. It fits perfectly in universe, and it's also very prescient to reality. It's like the perfect bridge between Phoenix Wright, whimsy, and real legal issues and real legal dilemmas. Holy God, I just love this. I love this so much. I could gush about this for a while, but this music is really loud in my ears. I can barely hear myself talk. I'm going to sign off for now. Until next time, until then, thank you so much.